programme. The UK's Finance Minister, the Chancellor, has offered this financial support package. Will this do the trick, do you think?
It's not enough, and in two ways. First of all, the amount of money, while we're grateful for anything that comes the way of businesses, needs to be much more higher levels. And secondly, this is more of a tactical sprint rather than a strategic marathon. We need the long-term plan which will enable businesses to actually feel stability for the next few months, if not the rest of the year, and also know how the government is going to reignite the economy once we have COVID completely under control.
You can understand, though, can't you, from other sectors of the economy saying you can't simply write a blank cheque. At some point, the UK taxpayer has to pick up the bill for all of this.
I agree, but at the moment, if the UK taxpayer stops paying and stops businesses staying in business, there will not be anyone to employ people and to create wealth and to pay taxes in the future. And we have to remember at the moment, as much as the government is giving businesses money, it's taking it away in tax payments, in national insurance and income tax payments and corporation tax.
We were just reporting on the programme the disruption to the holiday industry. I don't know whether you managed to hear that. This is going to go on for months, isn't it? This isn't just about January, with presumably a huge impact on foreign tourists, foreign visitors and London itself.
Yes, it does. I mean, London depends very heavily on incoming tourists, both for leisure and for business. Business is probably slightly more robust, but leisure tourism is a very fragile industry, and people now will be looking ahead and saying, well, I won't book my holiday in the summer. So it's not just now that tourists are not coming in, it will be over the summer as well, which again is why the government needs to think strategically and think long term about sustaining those businesses through to the autumn.
What is your assessment of how many businesses that you represent surviving this extended lockdown? What are we talking about here? 50%, 70%?
Well, I would be surprised if we end up with the low percentages. My feeling is a lot of businesses will go bust, and it won't necessarily just be the small ones. Some of the small ones have managed to husband their resources, can get their costs under control. A lot of it will be the big ones who suffer because they can't get supply, because their suppliers go out of business. So it's a complicated world. I think there will be some unexpected casualties, but there'll be also an awful lot of casualties with small and medium enterprises who are actually the lifeblood of the individuality of London.
When it comes to UK businesses, what can the UK government do better for business in this pandemic and now this lockdown?
They need to do two things. One is to actually extend support predictably until the end of this calendar year, and so businesses know what they're going to get. And secondly, we need to know the reignition plan for when we start to come out of COVID, what the government is going to do to invest in reigniting our economy, in getting visitors back, and getting businesses back on the road, and to also just give people the confidence that there is a plan and there is a future.
The criticism of furlough and a lot of the Chancellor of the Exchequer's handout support is it's actually very good for medium-sized businesses and big businesses. It isn't so good for the little guys, the freelancers. Has that changed now?
No, we're still not seeing enough support going into self-employed people and sole traders, particularly those of them who were encouraged to engage in a particular form of tax management, encouraged by the government and by Treasury advice. They're being left out in the cold. And it's those small businesses which are actually the ones who will then not have the confidence to restart. We'll find a lot of good entrepreneurs who will say, I've been burnt very badly in this. I don't really want to go back and employ a couple of people again. I don't really want to put my house on the line. I'm going to actually just try and find a job. And without those entrepreneurs, without that spirit of adventure,